I guess since I live in Portsmouth, I'll go first. But it doesn't mean that we don't owe a great deal to all of the elected individuals, and particularly to Carol and Bev, and to Jeannie too. Jeannie, we are so glad that you are still in Washington. And for those of you who may not know it, there was a bill that was being heard in the Senate and the House, or in the House this week in New Hampshire, that would give the legislature the right to recall a senator from Washington. We do not want to let that bill pass. Just to give you an idea, and as we sort of talk about the past and the future, I think looking forward into the future, we need to be continually asking people that we know and we see, is this what you voted for the New Hampshire legislature? A legislature now that is committed to turning its back on good government, is committed to turning its back on the future by refusing to deal with the issue of climate change and energy efficiency, is turning its back on the future because there's a bill that will be heard next week that is going to cut the requirements for an adequate education in half and say that such things as foreign languages, music, arts, health, and technology are not critical components of a 21st century education. It's quite shocking. How are we going to compete in the global economy if we don't make sure that our students in this state have all of the tools that they need to move forward? By eliminating foreign languages, they will be at a disadvantage wherever they apply to college. It makes no sense. They want to do away with public kindergarten. They want to roll back the requirement that students stay in high school till age 18. When we passed that bill, which was one of the leadership bills for both the House and the Senate and the governor, we saw with the passage of that bill that we reduced our dropout rate by over 1/3 in 2 years. We all know that if you don't at least have a high school education, that you're not going to be able to be an independent, self-supporting, contributing individual in our society. And yet they want to turn the back on the future. You've already heard about what they want to do with regard to the issue of students voting. They also want to do away with same-day registration, a bill that I sponsored in 1994 and has made it possible for literally millions of individuals in New Hampshire to go to the polls on election day and vote. They want to are worried about fraud in elections. There is no history of fraud in this state. One young man several years ago who had turned 18 went in and voted as if he were his father. That's the extent of fraud that has been identified in this state. Our Secretary of State says that fraud is not a problem in this state. Yet they want to continue with the initiative to require that every person who votes has to present a photo ID. What does that mean for seniors, the people that struggle in the last years of their lives to come out and vote, regardless of how infirmed or handicapped they might be, and they're going to arrive at the polls and be told they can't vote because they don't have a photo ID? Now those are just some of the things that we're looking at. You've already heard some of the other things. We need everyone in this room going forward to make sure that your friends and your neighbors know what's going on in Concord. Because the initiatives that we're looking at will set New Hampshire back. We can't allow that to happen. So I just wanted to give you sort of a sense of where we are. But what I really wanted to say is that as I look around this room, I have had the privilege and the honor to serve both in the House and the Senate, to represent my community and to represent the Seacoast communities. And so many of you here have been so generous with your time, your pocketbook, your commitment to my ability to serve. I can't thank you enough. I am so honored to have been allowed to serve you. And so many of you, and not just in Portsmouth, but in Hampton and Rye and Newcastle and Greenwood and Northampton, Newington and Hampton Falls have become my friends. And I will miss not serving you. I really I just want to thank you for being here, and thank you for your friendship, and for your love, and for your support.